Welcome to the Sex, Money, and Real Estate Podcast, the show for real estate couples about how to close more deals in the bedroom. My name is Bill Jameson.
And I'm Nancy Jameson.
And each week we deep dive into juicy, intentional, sexy conversations, sharing with you what it takes to create balance in your intimate relationships and your real estate business. Thank you so much for being here. Shall we begin?
Hey, baby.
Hola, baby.
Oh, please don't. I have not been keeping up on my Duolingo. That's about as far as I go. Hola. ¿Qué pasó?
¿Qué pasó?
I don't know.
No, okay.
That's my restaurant Spanglish.
That's enough of that.
I think that's what that is.
Awesome.
Woo.
What's going on?
Well, lots of great stuff. I mean, it's January and it's one of my favorite months. And
why is it one of your favorite months?
Well, it's because it's the beginning of the year.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like it's this beautiful reset moment for us and for really everything. I mean, it's just the calendar, the start of the calendar year. So it's a great time to reset. And the other reason that I love January is because my birthday.
Here it comes. There it is.
Month.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah, it is. It's super fun. So I'm excited.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Turning 29 again.
Yeah, that's fine.
It's fantastic. Great age.
Mm-hmm. But really?
How
old am I?
I've lost track.
Really?
Yeah.
You've lost track? Oh, gosh. Okay. Well, that's interesting. No, I'll be 49 next week. So that is fascinating. It's really fascinating because, I do feel 29. And nevertheless, this is Sex, Money, and Real Estate. And if you are tuning in to listen to Bill and Nancy Jameson talk about all things sex, money, and sex, money, and real estate and relationships, and really just putting that zhuzh on business and your personal life and balancing your emotional and financial piece, then you are definitely in the right episode, the right podcast. So
yes.
Here we are. We're a little extra goofy today. Hope you guys don't mind.
Hey, yep.
Well, and thank you very much for being here, Jam Fam. We certainly appreciate it.
Today we're going to talk about the 2020 stats.
Yes, all things statistics from 2020.
And, with a little help from our friends, make some 2021 market predictions as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're going to break out that crystal ball and just do the best we can with market predictions and where we think the market overall is going to go. I mean, we're not getting too nitty gritty here, but in terms of state or cities or anything like that, but stay tuned to the end. So you will hear the number one way to capitalize on the 2020 real estate year, taking that into 2021 and just really
know how to knock it out of the park.
Yes,
for sure.
Rocket fuel.
Yep.
Awesome.
Cool. So, question for you, Nance.
Yes.
Yeah. How have you influenced others in an empowering way? How have you influenced self, others, and life in an empowering way? Mm-hmm. Where has magic showed up in your life that you would like to, maybe declare on the air here?
Mm-hmm. So two things come to mind. One, we hired an Instagram maven. So Allie K, as we lovingly call her, is starting to work on our Instagram accounts this week. And we're super excited that she's here because frankly, although we love doing Instagram, it's definitely not our one thing. So that has fallen through the cracks a little bit. And feel like we have connected with somebody who absolutely loves it and, likes to knock it out of the park per your comment earlier. So we're super excited that she's here. So, would love your feedback on the Instagram account. And then the second thing is that y'all know that every Monday, Bill and I or do an orgasmic meditation and utilize the sexual energy to power our business. And so as a result of our intentions from this past Monday, this week alone, and, in the time of recording, this is only 3.5 days after our We have received a coaching client referral, 2 listing referrals that have turned into appointments, 2 buyer referrals that have turned into consultations, and then an outbound referral to Alaska from our wealth planner, our financial planner, Faye Sykes, who has also been on the guest on the podcast, 3 separate episodes. So if you're interested in hearing what Faye's all about, then go back to listening to those financial episodes. And she's awesome. So yeah, I mean, just really, there's a lot of stuff popping.
Mm-hmm. And then, I have some, are you complete?
I am complete. Thank you.
And I have some real estate, sometimes we'll go family, friends, or whatever with back and forth, but I actually have some real estate magic as well. And I'm super excited for our friend Alexis. She's been, she's had a very interesting, end of the year. And, sadly her husband passed, and, she's got 3 kids and it's just been, she's had a rough time, and she was in a rental house that, where the lease was coming due. Not only was the lease coming due, but they're looking to sell the house, and all this is coming on kind of at the same time.
Yeah, within the same 6-month time frame. Yeah.
And we were able to negotiate with this out of town investor for her to not only to stay in the house until we could get financing and things worked out, but she's actually going to close on the house that she's living in, so she doesn't have to pay out to move and uproot the kids and all that kind of stuff. And that closes next week. And it's magic to have all that work out, and then magic that we're in a position where we could do this deal pro bono and help her family out as well. So I'm super excited for this closing next week.
Yep, absolutely. There's gifts and blessings in the heartache as well. So I appreciate that ability too. And she's amazing.
Totally. And so resilient. So, and then the other magic is our listener love from a couple of weeks ago.
Yep, we did an episode. Well, usually in our episodes, we plant strategically special gifts for you guys as a way to say thank you so much for listening to the episodes and the entire episode. So sometimes, they're in the middle, sometimes they're at the end, sometimes they're 3/4 to the end.
Right.
But nevertheless, they're in there, and we really appreciate y'all listening to the full message. And so our listener, Shaka, who also happens to live here in Atlanta, is a successful real estate investor. So he listens to one of our podcasts and literally cashed in on one of our gifts. So he contacted us, and the gift was a 30-minute consultation session with us, really whatever it was that he wanted to talk about in things, sex, money, or real estate related. And so we ended up meeting him, and then the meeting lasted for 90 minutes.
Right.
And we were just like popping. It was like pam, 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 pam. It was just this really cool meeting, really cool connection. And so, just talked again a lot about real estate investing and different strategies and coaching and what was it like to get into real estate and all of these things. It was great. It was really beautiful. So we appreciate Shaka for reaching out to us and following through on the connection point.
Yeah, absolutely. And not only did that, but, he followed directions. He listened to the episode all the way through, recapped the episode so that we knew that he listened to it all the way through, and then reached out to make sure that, he got on the calendar with us. So
so that happened on Tuesday.
Yeah. So that was cool.
Awesome.
All right. So,
you ready to get down and dirty?
Yeah, let's dig into these.
I love statistics.
Well, good, because that's why you do what you do.
I love it.
You're in your lane, and that's why I'm in my lane. So, cool. So in this episode, we're going to bullet point some of the stats from 2020, right? And then, use a few of those stats to make some predictions for 2021. And again, it's a crystal ball. It's a prediction. So
nothing is guaranteed. Y'all.
Yep. Yeah. There aren't any spoiler alerts because we don't actually know what's going to happen.
We're just using our educated guesses and our information.
Yep.
From all of our sources.
So, and in full disclosure, we've gathered this information from NAR, from Realtor.com, the UN Census Bureau, and then
U.S., not the UN.
Did I say UN?
Yeah, U.S. Census Bureau.
United Nations
not
Census
United
Bureau.
Nations.
That would be a little crazy. Anyway, the U.S. Census Bureau, and then a guy that I used to coach with back in the day,
Yeah.
Brian Buffini.
Ooh, yes.
Back
We
in the
were
day.
Buffini heads for a really long time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
For
absolutely.
Sure. Yep. So
Yeah, and then NAR just as is National Association of Realtors. So
for those who are not in the business, I guess.
Yep.
Yep. Cool. So some market stats for real estate. State of the market from 2020. What do you know about that?
Well, overall, the inventory dwindled, and overall, again, buyer demand was increasing. It was obviously a very interesting year. In our specific market, what we noticed, and again, we're here in Atlanta, and specifically what we noticed here was that there was a trend moving from the city of Atlanta and Metro Atlanta and going out to the urban, out to the country. And so, if you're moving from Atlanta, you would go up to the mountains or you go out into, like different farmland out west or out south. And it was just people were moving outside of the city.
Yeah.
And the reason they were moving outside of the city was they wanted a larger house where they could have the Zoom room,
Right.
or they could have the in-home study area, like they're in school, they're homeschooling now, so they have a homeschooling area.
Totally.
Or they may need one office or two offices. So all of a sudden, the house that they're living in has now become the restaurant, the gym, the hotel for their romantic getaways,
Right.
the spa, the recreational center, homework center, business center, and et cetera. School.
Yeah, it's like
et cetera, et cetera.
It's like a compound almost kind of thing, huh?
So literally doubled in size.
Yeah.
So again, you need a different type of area. You need more affordable area with the ability to have a larger house. The other thing that we would see was that since so many people had like a family, basically like their situation changed. So maybe they lost their job, or maybe somebody got sick, or, just different family situations changed. And so they needed to downsize.
Yeah.
So they would sell their house in the city, what would be considered Metro Atlanta, and then they would move out for, a lower price point house, or you would get more house for the money. But that's what we were seeing here. And then obviously each state and specific market it's going to vary based on where you live. So
Right.
I do want to say that, but I just wanted to give you a little insight in what's going on here.
Yeah, what we've experienced
Atlanta.
for sure. And we absolutely experienced all of that, the Zoom rooms, the, making sure there's room for a homeschool, several of those over this year, that kind of thing. So let me read I'm going to read these, a few of these stats here just so y'all have them if you're taking notes. Existing home sales, they say that there's 2.7 months of inventory as of late 2020, which is a record low, all-time low.
Nationally. These are national stats.
Right, these are national stats, exactly. Yep. And then obviously, being the professional that you all are listening to this podcast, and we know you're even more professional because you're listening to this podcast, is, look at your local stats and make sure you know. So, and, know your stats per price bracket as well. Because, as those prices go up, and you hit, 750,000 and above, there could be situations in your market where it turns from a seller's market into a buyer's market. So know your stats. But nationally, we're at a record low. The median length of time for recently sold homes is about 3 weeks.
Which is insane. I just want to say that. It's insane. Like it's so quick.
It is quick. And I think that's actually long compared to what we've experienced here in our local market.
Well, absolutely. I mean, our personal days on market is 13 by the time, it listed I mean, it's super low. So but this nationally, I mean, that just, that to me indicates the country is on the move.
Yep. For sure. And the median home price for last year was $272,500. So that is that's awesome. And 15.9 million Americans moved in 2020.
Yeah. It's a lot.
22% of Americans moved due to COVID. So nearly a quarter of those who moved because of COVID.
Yeah.
2% increase in permanent moves, and then a 27% increase in temporary moves.
Yep.
So people are settling in, huh? All right. So let's talk about the buyer profile
Awesome.
for this year.
Take it, buyer CEO over there. CEO of the buyers.
So, and from my experience, we know that inventory is still really tight.
Yeah.
And we have as many or more buyers than ever, and that's what the stats reflect as well. That buyers are still on the move. There's buyers have more opportunity to move and be out. I think, like you said in the beginning of the recording here, to work remotely, to work by Zoom. I really feel like there's a lot of companies out there that have felt the impact of COVID is in a way where they don't have to support an office and the kitchen and the and that whole environment, and can save some money and be just as effective and efficient by having people work remotely. And that is like you said, people now want their Zoom rooms because they know they're going to be working out of their homes more than they are now.
Yep.
Or continue to the same way that they have been, I guess, since last March.
Yep.
So, you got buyers that are looking to move up into the bigger house and find that bigger space. Like you said, people are trading. I heard this term, I forget where I heard this term, trading traffic for chickens, getting more suburban. Looking for land and higher quality of life in their environment. And as we know, and we teach on this podcast a lot, environment is everything. And, it's being reflected in housing and land and making sure that, people set up their little compounds,
Absolutely. Well, and that was another big piece of feedback that we received too. If I'm going to be working from home and homeschooling, then I'm going to live in my dream house.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to live on my dream compound.
Well, plus the other thing is that when you get a little more suburban, you can typically afford a little bit more house as well. Yep. So the affordability factor changes as well. So let's see here. Buyers' needs have shifted. Nearly 1/3 of aspiring home buyers would look for a home with a dedicated office.
Yep.
Suburban cities across the U.S. experience an increase in new residents looking for more space and affordability in a time of remote working opportunities, and millennial buyers are having more expensive, leaving more expensive, densely populated areas in favor of affordable regions. So let's talk about that for just a second.
Sure.
Those more affordable regions, what I've heard and seen also are getting out of some of the states that have state tax. So you're seeing people move to Tennessee, to Florida. Texas is another one.
Yep.
Opting for warmer climates.
Yep.
And then another thing, interesting stat that I heard about some of these moves is that, like, red states, the red states are.
States, yeah.
What's that?
The Republican states.
Yeah. So Republicans are moving into more predominant Republican states, and Democrats are moving into more Democratic states.
Or red with red and blue with blue.
Right,
yeah.
Right.
Well, I mean, it makes sense. Environment, like-minded people like to gather.
Birds of a feather.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, so that's all part of it. And then...
well, the whole thing has changed. Like, the whole paradigm on moving and where you live and how you do school and how you do work has completely flipped the script. So the opportunity, people are taking those opportunities to do the things that they want to do and live where they want to live, and they can.
Right.
Right.
So, and then the other thing it says here is that first-time buyers are getting back in the game. So 31% of all buyers are first-time buyers, which I think is a huge stat. 49% of millennials have pushed up home buying plans as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. 57% of first-time buyers are 18 to 34.
That's
My
huge.
gosh.
Yeah.
75% of first-time buyers made less than a 20% down payment.
Did any of those things surprise you when as we were going through culling the material and deciding which stats we were going to put in this conversation?
No, not really. I mean, some of the suburban stuff, and I'm a little biased because we live in Atlanta, and so I see the houses selling in Atlanta and Atlanta area and Atlanta proper just as quickly as the ones in the suburbs. So it almost feels like kind of like a trade, like people are seeing some opportunities to get in town.
Yeah.
And have that experience, and others, especially the ones that have families and whatnot, are looking to do, get some more space and have those extra rooms for education and stuff like we talked about. So not super surprising. That's just a little bit of my perspective as I take my buyers out. The younger set for sure makes sense. The 18 to 34s. Because I've experienced that.
So you're seeing, like, you're experiencing
all of this, really, less than 20% down. Unless I have like somebody who's bought and sold a time or two, very few have 20% down these days. So,
or I guess the other way of looking at it is they want to hold on to their cash.
That could be too. Yep.
They don't necessarily want to put 20% down because money is so cheap right now. True. Right? With lending. I mean,
that's true.
We have friends the other day, we were talking with them and they just refinanced their house for 2.5%.
So crazy.
It's ridiculous.
Money is so cheap right now.
So, it's like, why? Like, let's just put 3.5% down or 3% down or 5% down or whatever, and then hold on to our cash.
Yeah. And that makes a lot of sense. And I appreciate you picking that up and putting that out there because, with money being cheap and the feds, we're hearing that the feds are going to really try to, they're going to try to support, the forecasting is they're going to try to support the lower interest rates for at least the next 3 years. So there's still some opportunity to get in on housing, even though some housing is a little more expensive. The money is cheap. So there's a bit of a balance there for sure.
Absolutely.
So, and then the other thing about buying a house right now, when you're talking to your clients, is that, I think we're going to continue to see inflation go up. And when you own something like a house or you own your car outright, that is how you fight inflation, at a micro level for yourself and your family. So
awesome.
Get that stuff, make sure your clients know that and they can get that locked in. So that's one part of the economy that they can control.
Yep, absolutely.
So, all right, babe, let's move into your lane a little bit.
All right.
We'll talk about sellers.
Come on, sellers.
Sellers, tell us about your seller experiences and what you're seeing with against some of these national stats.
Yeah. So there's definitely low inventory. There's a lot of people that have the desire to move. There are sellers that have the desire to move. And so the conversation is, but where do I go? So that seems to be always the bridge. Like, how do we bridge that conversation? How do we balance being ready to move and then moving? So it is definitely very fascinating. So how we solve that on this end is we get the house totally ready to go 100%. Like, they do all the painting, all the repairs that we were going to do. They stage the house. They put half their stuff in a pod. It is list ready. Sometimes I'll even take the photographs, have the photographer take the photographs, and then we'll have the photographs ready to go. And so when they're ready to go, when they find the house, then we'll list immediately, like the same day.
Yeah, it's so smart.
That's typically how we do that. The other thing is that we're seeing, as far as the listing prices go, listing prices are definitely increasing. So the stat is 17%, increased by 17% last year, tilting the market in the favor of a seller's market. Now, this is nationally.
Right.
We're absolutely in a seller's market here in the majority of the price points in Atlanta. So the other thing is that 99% of sellers sold their homes for their listing price.
That's amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Totally amazing. I remember when...
You're so old.
I'm so old.
You're so handsome, though.
Yeah. When, we could count on, a house is selling for 93 to 95%
Yeah.
of the list rate, and it was a buyer's market. And, and the conversation with my listing appointments was, it's going to take at least 45 to 60 days to sell your home.
So let's sign a 6-month agreement.
Right.
Yeah.
And then we'd end up renewing anyway.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And
So
you would
crazy.
count on that 5%. I mean, I remember that spiel too,
Mhm.
that little script, but not now, because now we're in multiple offers. Every single one of my listings is in a multiple offer situation. Every single one.
Yeah.
How many times are you in a multiple? I mean, I can't even tell you how many contracts have you written. That would be interesting.
I have written a record amount, and I write some pretty great offers. I'm gonna put you out. I'm gonna put that out there right now.
Absolutely.
I write great offers with my clients. I'm upfront. I'm transparent. I'm like, this is what you need to do.
Yeah.
And we'll do stuff where it's like, how could this ever get beat?
Yeah.
Like, how could? And they do.
Yeah.
They do.
Yeah.
And some of it. And here's the thing. And to remember while we're talking about this is that, you can write statistically, you can write like the best offer on the planet and still lose the deal in the multiple offer situation, because what you can't write in, as much as we try to, is some of the emotionality around it. The emotions of the seller, the emotions of the buyer, the letters that are written, all that kind of stuff.
The emotions of the listing agent.
The emotion, or the agents and stuff. That's why you need to be the best agent.
Yes.
And rock steady with your emotions and doing your job to represent, to take some of the emotions out of it.
Yeah.
So that you can win the deals more times than not. My rant is over.
Well, it's warranted, because nationally, the typical listing receives an average of 3.4 offers before closing.
Mm-hmm.
That means every house listed on average is receiving 3.4 offers.
Which is, again,
Every house.
yeah.
Now, we've had situations where we've had 11 offers or 25 offers, and we've literally had to stop taking offers.
Yep.
I mean, it is, we've seen some really interesting stuff this year, but nationally it's 3.4 offers per listing before the close. So 22% of all sellers reduced their asking price at least once. So I was surprised by that, because again, back in this market, it's like, well, why would anybody have to reduce their selling price? And yet I get it. Like, sellers are like, hey, I want to list it for this price. Why not? Because I can always reduce it. So it's essentially, this conversation led me to believe that it's, let's shoot for the moon and we'll land on the stars.
Right.
So
talk about, can I interject?
Yeah.
So talk about like how you can't underprice a listing.
Because the market will always reflect the competition of the actual value of the property. So in other words, if somebody wants that property, they're going to pay whatever it is that they're going to pay for that house. I mean, that's the definition of market, whatever a ready, willing, and able buyer is going to pay for the property. So if you have 5 people wanting that house, then they're going to do whatever it takes to push up that price, clean up their offer, take out their special stipulations, whatever it is, to make and position themselves in the best light. And usually that leads with pricing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we're aggressive anyway with our pricing, and my personal list price to sales price is above 100%. So,
yep.
But that's it's just the market.
Yeah, because the market always corrects itself, and which means that you can't underprice. I mean, you could price a house for $1.
Yeah, you could.
And watch the house. If it's a $300,000 house and with multiple offers, especially when you list it for $1, watch it go to 310, 315, 320. Yep. Absolutely, and then support it because you have multiple offers. So,
no question.
Cool,
No question.
cool. Sorry about the sidebar, but
it's great.
What
Awesome.
What are some of the reasons?
Yeah. So my top 3 reasons that I pulled out of this are obviously the desire to move closer to friends and family, especially in this day and age. With everything that we've experienced over the last 12 months, people want to be closer to their friends and family, especially if you're in lockdown mode. I mean, you want to be able to at least see them or walk to their house, or at least in the same state.
Right.
Their home was too small.
Right.
And we talked about that earlier. If we're going to be at home and at the gym and in the restaurant and at the entertainment movie theater, then we want to be in our dream house because it's all in one house now. And then again, they experienced a change in their family situation. So maybe their larger house that they were living in, they need to downsize, or maybe there's two families moving in to
we've seen
one
that
house
too.
now. We've seen a lot of that.
Yep. Or
also.
parents moving in, families moving back in with their parents, the whole thing. Yep.
Yeah. And then like the buyer side, on the flip side, on the seller side, again, recently sold homes were on the market for a median of 3 weeks. So that makes sense. 3 weeks on the buy, 3 weeks on the sell. So this was a really cool stat for us agents. 67% of sellers used an agent that was referred to them or used an agent that they had worked for in the past, which I thought was really great. So, do a great job for your clients, and then you will definitely garner more business. And that definitely means you're in relationship with them after the sale of the house. Like, don't ghost them after the end of the closing.
And I'm going to say something. I think that stat is low.
Okay.
That is just my opinion. I think that I know that stat could be much higher if you work your business and you work the people that you know, as far as staying in communication, staying in contact with them. And
yeah. Well, that's obviously lower than our stat. I mean,
absolutely.
Lower.
And so, when we asked you guys to stay to the end of the episode, to tell you how to really capitalize on this 2021 market, I'm here to tell you that this is how to capitalize on any year in any market, and that is to work by referral.
Absolutely.
We were Buffini heads for years and years, and and we do have a farm and that kind of thing. But at the end of the day, what's our referral rate, Nance?
87%.
87% of our business comes from referrals from people we have done business with, friends, colleagues. I mean, the whole thing. And what it's done for us is it's made our business bulletproof.
Yeah. Well, we've been in business since 2001.
Right.
Absolutely. I mean, we've seen this is the third, really giant, turn.
Yep, absolutely.
So.
This is a cycle of the business that nobody ever predicted.
Right.
The last pandemic was in 1901 or whatever it was. The Spanish flu. Right. And so, here we are, and referrals are still in this different business cycle that nobody ever predicted. It's a buyer's market, it's a seller's market, but nobody ever said it'd be a COVID market. And here we are, and our stats remain the same. And that's a testament to the calls, the phone calls, the emails, checking in.
Yep. Direct mail,
Popeyes.
All of it. Client appreciation parties.
Yeah. So
all that stuff.
So do that, whatever that is for you, and bulletproof your business so that if you weren't prepared for this cycle, you'll be prepared for the next, because it is coming, whatever it looks like. And you can also bolster your business for the current cycle that we're in as well.
Yeah. You definitely control your business when it's by referral. I mean, it's 100% the foundation of our business. And so how we approach referrals is that we aim to exceed their expectations at every level, to the degree that we actually say to them all the time throughout the transaction, hey, if at any point you're dissatisfied with our service, let us know. Like, we're open to feedback. We're transparent. Like, just let us know. And, whatever it is, how to make it better, all of that stuff. I mean, there's so many touch points throughout the transaction and after the transaction that, that we really nourish and nurture that relationship. I mean, it just speaks to the people that we have transactions with over the last 2 decades. I mean, it's really amazing. It's really amazing. So, relationships are definitely more important than transactions. 100%.
For sure. Because the transactions, the money will come when you take care of your friends and your family in a genuine, heartfelt way up front.
Yes. Provide outstanding service, care for them during the transaction and long after the transaction. 100%.
So for those out there who have been in the business for more than 5 years, I want to leave you with this stat. Or if you haven't been in the business for 5 years, I'll leave you this stat as well. 85% of those in real estate get out of real estate within 5 years. Then what I'm saying to you is 85% of us are brand new agents every 5 years. That is crazy to me.
Wow.
That is crazy. Such a transient business.
And it speaks to having rigor and commitment and resiliency and consistency and persistence. And if you have those qualities, or you coach with someone who has those qualities,
Yes.
i.e. Bill and Nancy Jameson, then you will be able to not only survive, but you'll thrive. I mean, that's what we do. We teach you how to thrive in your personal and your business relationships. That's what JAM is: joyous, abundant, mature relationships.
Yep.
And if it relates to real estate, if that relates to your partnerships, if that relates to your relationship with yourself, that's who we are. We are consistent. We are... That's who we are. I mean, we are sustainable, like all of those amazing adjectives. So that we can help you not be a part of that statistic. How about that?
Love it. Beautiful. Mm-hmm. That's what I got, baby.
Fantastic.
Yes, right. That's what I got. So as always, you can reach out to us in all forms of sex, money, real estate, Gmail, Instagram, Facebook. And I'll throw it back out there. I'm so inspired by that whole, Shaka hanging out with us the other day and reaching out after the episode, that if anybody else would like to schedule 30 to 90 minutes with us and wants to hang out, give us a shout. Let's have a conversation. We'd love to have that one-on-one time with you to see if we're could be a great fit for coaching, and B, just if there is any way we can contribute to your life and have just a genuine conversation, that would be great as well. So either way is fine with me.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
No obligation.
No obligation. There you go. Boom, baby. All right. Well, I love you.
I love you too.
I love you guys out there.
Thank you.
Pointing out. And we'll see you on the flip side. See you next time.
Make it a great day.
Wow, what a show. Thank you so much for listening. And if you're inspired, we ask that you share the podcast with one person and subscribe and follow the show. I'm Bill Jameson.
And I'm Nancy Jameson.
And remember, it's
a great life. Quick note about the Sex, Money, and Real Estate podcast. We are not doctors or licensed therapists. We are a joyous, abundant, and mature couple passionately sharing our story of growth around sex, money, and real estate. Our thoughts, opinions, and beliefs are our own, so please consult your doctor, healthcare provider, or your broker regarding any questions or issues you have related to your physical or mental health or specific state laws regarding your real estate business.